It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Cindy Marten, our Deputy Secretary of Education since May of 21. And she was the former superintendent of San Diego Unified School District since 2013. And for me as a former superintendent, that is great relief that someone in DC is had the experience and walked in our shoes as superintendents in education. She also, over a 30-year career as an educator, was a teacher, a literacy specialist, a vice principal, a principal. I mean, she's handled some things. And as superintendent, her Vision 2020 got her the highest graduation rate among California big cities. She also had the fastest reading growth rate for large urban districts in 2019 across all of America, which again, that tells me the academic side, that putting students first for student achievement, so important for us in our leadership. And we're glad to have you. She is a whole child educator in that the social, emotional things are addressed in our education as well as she did it through the arts. So looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for coming, Dr. Marten.
Thank you so much. They said that he was glad that he had somebody here at the federal level that has walked in the shoes before. I said, did you see these shoes? You want to walk in these? No, I'm kidding. It is great that the Biden-Harris administration prioritized the Department of Education being led by educators. Secretary Cardona was a teacher. I was a teacher. A third of the political appointees were actual classroom teachers. Thank you to the administration. So here we are, and we have a teacher in the White House because Dr. Joe Biden is also a teacher who's currently teaching at community college. So while I do have prepared remarks, something that unfortunately I have to address is what's happened in Nashville, because it just doesn't feel right being a lifelong educator and walking into a room of people who care so much about education that our hearts are with the school leaders, the families, the victims, their families, the whole wider school community. And the First Lady, the President, Secretary have all put out comments. It's more than putting out comments, it's about action and what needs to happen to protect our students. So it just didn't feel right to start without recognizing that. So I was just recently in Nashville as part of our Raise the Bar, Lead the World tour. The mayor participated in our roundtable. It's a community that cares deeply, like every community I've been to. I've never been to a community where they don't care deeply about their students' well-being, academic excellence, exquisite learning conditions, communities care, and then things like this continue to happen. So I didn't want to move without that, and I will move into my prepared remarks because I am so passionate about what you all are doing and what this conference is about. Getting a kind introduction like that from a superintendent. I told him I'm a recovering superintendent. I was superintendent for 8 years. This is my 34th year in education. I spent 17 years in the classroom, but Superintendent Hester, I definitely know what it's like to be a superintendent and what it means to lead an entire community of learners, from students to educators to families to a whole community. Thank you for your leadership. On behalf of the whole department and Secretary Cardona, we appreciate everything that you do and everything that everybody in this room is doing to support students, but especially this particular conference, Generation 180, and what you all are doing and what your grand plans are, what you've been doing, what you are doing, and what you hope to do next. I want to thank you for bringing me here today to speak to you about this so that we can figure out what to do next. I know the entire event staff here at the Milken Institute, School of Public Health. Are you all in the room? Where are the folks? Well, for putting this on, the people that are doing the recording, the streaming, everybody that's making all that possible. We can put on events like this, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes. So if you haven't thanked the behind the scenes, they got name tags and lanyards and AV and all the things that you need. The videographer over there, thank you. Let's say thank you to the people behind the scenes that help us do this. Thank you. I don't think we thank the camera people enough. Look, I'm making him smile. See, he's behind the camera and I made him smile. We gotta say thank you. Yeah, turn it around, they wanna see you. So if you didn't know, you can go back and look at it, but a few months ago, Secretary Cardona challenged us all to raise the bar and lead the world in education. And this is our U.S. Department of Education's call to action and a way that we believe we can transform preschool through 12th grade education through this call to action, and a way to unite in what truly works. We know what truly works, and we know what works based on decades of experience and research. We don't have to make this up. We already know what works in P12 education, and we know how to advance educational excellence and equity, so why not do that? That's what the call to action is, and you can see the Secretary's speech in January around Raise the Bar, Lead the World. So that's why I'm excited to be with you, this audience, because you know a thing or two about raising the bar. This is what you're committed to, raising the bar for our schools, and to have the opportunity to talk to you all today specifically about how do we raise the bar on school infrastructure and sustainability. We have an opportunity now. It's the green or sustainable schools movement that's taken up the twin challenges of our lifetime. It's the future of our youth and the future of our planet. This movement knows so well, better than anybody, that the same is not going to be good enough. It's not good enough anymore, and that our children and our grandchildren definitely deserve better. A 2021 State of Our Schools report found that an annual school facilities funding gap of $85 billion a year, and that's despite school facilities being the second largest infrastructure capital outlay in the US, behind highways, and most capital costs are paid by school districts. If they're paid by school districts, in fact, the local districts pay 77% of the costs for pre-K through 12 capital projects. I know all too well as a superintendent from San Diego what that was like. And this means with that type of investment happening in these inequitable ways that we have inequity that persists based on which communities are able to fund the projects that the communities simply can't afford to do. We're looking for equitable access to learning resources as a prerequisite to high-quality educational programs, and it's a current priority of ours at the Department of Education. We can all agree that healthy, safe, sustainable, modern learning environments are a fundamental learning resource. It's not a nice to have. It's fundamental to learning for students. I know you know this also well. We want to be able to have these exquisite learning conditions so that we can support the social, emotional, and academic well-being and development of our students. It's a major priority that we have in our Raise the Bar, Lead the World effort, which seeks to boldly improve learning conditions by investing in every student's mental health and well-being with rigorous, joyful, relevant learning and great academics in beautiful school environments. This means that a green schoolyard alive with ecosystems and plants that students cultivate themselves is not one of those nice, sweet things to have. It's a need to have for our students. For students from the most underserved communities, all the way the school garden can be the only access that some of our students might have to see what it looks like to grow a fresh vegetable. That means that they can have access to a meadow where they can do hands-on, minds-on learning, or a forest. It could be their only opportunity to observe a butterfly with wonder, or to have that precious, unstructured time in the outdoors that allows learning to happen. Even early learning can only take place through provisions of adequate school facilities. We want to see appropriate restrooms and play equipment that our youngest learners require. This is also true for STEM learning. STEM learning is such a great opportunity to address the inequities that have been long-standing and to give appropriate educational resources in the field of STEM. And the facilities are important when you address STEM learning so we can tackle subjects in an appealing, hands-on, minds-on manner. When that happens, you can see students' minds ignite. STEM learning without STEM labs doesn't work. STEM learning without greenhouses and outdoor classrooms, and we want solar panel monitoring dashboards. If you don't have that, it's infinitely less engaging. That STEM learning that has those kinds of dashboards and greenhouses and outdoor classrooms makes it so much more meaningful and relevant for our students. That's why earlier this year we announced a major new initiative at the Department of Education called You Belong in STEM. And we designed that to foster this very authentic sense of belonging, sense of belonging in STEM education, a message to all of our students: you belong in STEM. And STEM education is something that we continue to prioritize to give access to high-quality STEM learning, not for some students in some cities, in some states, in some zip codes, but across the country. We can have productive learning environments that are such an important part of really rich and rigorous STEM learning, and it fosters a sense of belonging when the facilities match the kind of rigor and relevance and joyful learning that we want to see. We also know that the quality of our indoor environments does make an impact on student health and learning every day. Factors like the lighting, the air quality, they can help create an atmosphere where students and educators can either be at their best or not so much, where they can be their most productive or not so much, depending on how you create the indoor environments for our learners and the educators. And COVID-19 shined a light on this, on the importance of our indoor school environments. As an educator for 30 plus years, I didn't need a pandemic to know this, but the whole world knows about it now, so I'm glad, because now we can do something about it in a really systemic and meaningful way. We saw across the country schools, they mobilized to improve the air quality, to get schools open if they were closed, but we can't allow the momentum on school facilities to just end with air quality. Got schools open, fixed a little air quality, and let's move on. We can't let that happen. We can't let that dissipate now. We have to see how we invest in our school buildings and our grounds in the future, today, tomorrow, and in the years ahead. What we do with these dollars and these investments is going to send a message to our students, to their families, and to the communities. The physical resources speak to how we value our students and our communities and their education and their futures. They walk into a school building and they know whether we care about them or not. And it wasn't just fix the air quality to get us open. It sends a message. 2 years ago when I came to the department, I had a personal motto that came from when I was principal at a school in San Diego for 10 years. It was Central Elementary, a school with 100% poverty, 1,000 students pre-kindergarten through 5th grade. And the motto at the school was Central Elementary, and we called it the Central Way. And the Central Way was work hard, be kind, dream big, no excuses. So I brought that motto with me because I used to tell the kids it's not just to be successful at school, it's at school and in life. So I brought the dream big, work hard motto with me here to DC, and I feel like as I got to know more about the Green Schools movement, more specifically and in depth at the national level, it got my support right away as soon as I arrived, as I learned more about it, because it embodies the courage that it takes, along with the empathy that I strive to live by and that I modeled for my students when I worked at that school for 10 years. And you all do that. You all center everything that you do on equity. And equity means each and every student and community gets what they need, when they need it, in the way that they need it, and where they need it. It's very place-based as well. You have proven through all of the work that you do that the healthiest, the safest, the most sustainable, and the most educationally exceptional school facilities and grounds can and actually should serve our students most in need. You put equity at the center of what you're doing. So with every clean school bus, with every solar installation, with every single green schoolyard, and with every water or energy efficiency measure that you're doing, every one of those actions makes a statement about what we believe in and how we care about our schools, our communities, and our students. We value our students and their families and the educators in the communities where they live, and we value their education, their futures, and the planet through the actions that we're taking. That's why I've been so pleased to watch the Green Schools movement evolve and grow and build a bigger and bigger following and set of people that are interested in it. I value it as a deputy secretary, but I value it as a parent and as an educator, because in San Diego Unified School District, like I said, where I was superintendent for 8 years, we had a lot of work to do in this area. We built up a movement to support and to serve the produce that our students cultivated in our very own school gardens in the school cafeteria. We had a school garden at the school where I was principal for 10 years. We grew it in the garden, then we served salad on a salad bar and show what that looks like. We also worked to ensure in San Diego Unified, when I became superintendent, that we had the highest standards of water quality in every one of our school buildings. These were challenges I saw as an educator that were worth taking on. And we did it with courage and with empathy, just as you do, especially on behalf of our underserved communities that deserve the very best. It's work like this, and so much of what you do is what we mean by saying raise the bar. We raise the bar on infrastructure, we raise the bar on sustainability with real, tangible actions that have measurable outcomes for our communities. It's in schools across the country that you're making changes. You're tracking energy and water use, you're engaging students, which is my favorite part of it when we get kids involved, getting kids involved in solution-oriented sustainability education, turning on compost piles all over, planting all sorts of gardens, and yes, you're cutting ribbons on renewable energy technologies such as underground geothermal wells, wind turbines, solar panels, clean energy school buses. This is happening in real concrete, tangible ways all across the country. So I want to share, I just came back from California for a family wedding, and I was with my son, who's 28 years old. He's in the sciences. And my own young adult son, he is deeply concerned about the environment. He continues to be deeply concerned. It was a family wedding, so babies were being passed around, and I didn't have my own. Because my son, he's not sure if he's bringing a baby into this world. So I was borrowing other people. He's concerned. He's concerned about it. And what I know, as I talk to all the young people, both the ones that I have contact with in my own family and then as I go across the nation, they're not alone in their concerns. It's not just my son and his friends. In 2019, the Washington Post and Kaiser Family Foundation poll found that most teens and young adults are concerned and some afraid about climate change. Fortunately, we're not just living in concern and fear. The study also found that climate change motivates them to work and make a difference. That's why my son is working in the field, and so are many more young people. So what better way is there for the United States to raise the bar and achieve global competitiveness, one of our key pillars, than by taking on the planet's most pressing problems? Where our youth are concerned, we have actions to take. We can do work alongside them, but we're not just going to sit here and wring our hands. I call it admiring the problem. We can talk about the problem all day long and admire it and say how bad it is. No, we have to mobilize for action. And that's why I like to lift up bright spots and some incredible examples of where it's going well. For example, in Denver Public Schools, students successfully petitioned for the district to institute a climate policy that resulted in the district's first ever climate action plan. Then in Idaho, there is an 18-year-old student who was elected to Boise School District Board with climate change and student voice and empowerment as his primary platform. And then in Portland, Oregon, students organized and led a climate march with over 2,000 students. And the Indiana State Senate has just been presented with a bill spearheaded by youth climate activists that would produce a statewide climate action plan. Our youth can lead in this area, and they are doing it. Students want to dig into these topics in their classes too. There was a National Ed Week survey that found 65% of students want to learn more about how climate change will affect the future of Earth and society, and about 50% in that poll said they wanted to know what they can do personally to lessen the impacts of climate change. People want to do something. They don't want to just talk about it. They want to be about it. And so our students have spoken. They're very clear. It's time to put an end to the historic underinvestment in school infrastructure. It's time to offer real-world learning through the school buildings and through our grounds. And all the federal agencies have been directed to rise to the climate challenge in a whole-of-government approach with the Biden-Harris administration. So there's a few ways that we're doing this at the Department of Education. Some of them are new, some of them are longstanding. First, we're working more closely than ever. Because we have a whole-of-government approach in this administration, we're working more closely than ever with the U.S. Department of Energy, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and the White House and others in this whole-of-government approach. Our Department of Education is also partnering to get the word out about the new programs that we have that will benefit schools. We have programs for cleaner school buses, school efficiency upgrades, and we also have tax incentives that bring down the cost of renewable energy installations. So to this end, we've expanded our messaging, so we're getting the word out We can gather people around these big ideas. We're getting out messaging on infrastructure and sustainability so we can be as clear as possible in casting the vision with real action. We're doing webinars, we're doing reports, guidance. We're sharing these in our monthly infrastructure sustainability news. If you haven't signed up for it, sign up for it, because we get that out monthly. And then in the monthly infrastructure and sustainability news piece that we put out, we aim to embody the philosophy that from school gardens to air quality, environmental education to waste management, net zero to water, energy efficiency measures, alternative transportation to green career preparation, all of it matters. And all of it we put out in this monthly letter where we're spotlighting where it's working and we're showing where there's technical assistance, resources, and guidance for people to take these matters on. Because we are about a whole school sustainability approach, and it has to be a comprehensive approach. Just like it's a whole of government approach, it's a whole school, whole community approach, and it's across government at the federal level, which means it has to be across government and agencies at the local level. And so we put out these great examples to show school greening that encompasses facility, health, and why we exist is student learning. The second thing we've done is we've recently launched an unprecedented opportunity for non and for-profit private sectors to publicly make pledges and commitments that will support their school infrastructure, sustainability, health, climate, and environmental justice. We've asked all of our partners across the country to fight against the complacency in education and allow the department to stand up this good work. Thereby they can inspire them to do their part as well. No one's going to do this alone, and we will leverage our resources, our convening authorities, our communications tools, our granting resources, our technical assistance to bring non and for-profit private sector folks together for this whole effort. So we say join us. We're inviting national, regional, local foundations, businesses, community-based organizations, everybody to share what are your commitments related to school infrastructure and sustainability. Let everybody be public about it. Tell us what your commitments are, and do this in an online form. And it's on the ED website. It's on there by May 31st. We're asking for people to go on and make their commitments. We have this form, and we have till May 31st so we can put together what everybody's saying. Here's the part that I'm going to do. What I know about raising the bar is we don't raise the bar one person at a time. Everybody puts a little pinky on it, and everybody does a little bit. But together, that collective effort is what truly will raise the bar. So we're hoping this effort helps us unite the friends that we have of the Green Schools movement through this big call to action. Take the school infrastructure and sustainability challenge by making a pledge today, if you haven't already, or get it out to your network so we can see what's there. The third thing we're doing is in the recent omnibus, the department was authorized funding to administer 2 programs that are related to school infrastructure that will address sustainable school practices. The first one is a state capacity building program that's designed to bolster several of the lowest capacity states in school facilities so we can help them to in turn support their highest need school districts. And the second thing is a National Technical Assistance Center for School Infrastructure that will support the most high-need districts across the nation. In both of these programs, healthy, safe, sustainable 21st century school facilities and grounds that support high-quality learning will be a central tenet to what we're featuring and what we're looking for. And then finally, in a few weeks, we're going to announce the 2023 U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Schools. This is the 12th year of this award. Yes. There's some people in here, Arkansas, that should apply for it. Hint, hint. I don't vote on it. I don't know, but we're going to have the 2023 Green Ribbon Schools coming out. It's the 12th year of the program, and it's an example of how we at the Department of Education, we know how to dream big, even if we don't always get new funds or new authorities or new staffing to deliver on these big promises. We understand the public request to stand up examples for sustainable school excellence so that we can inspire other schools who haven't quite gotten there yet. It's through this Green Ribbon Schools Awards that we're able to lift up where it's already happening in such great ways and use our convening and our lifting authorities to be able to do that. 12 years later, since the inception of this program, we've honored close to 700 100 outstanding school programs from 46 state education authorities across the nation, and over 50% of which have been located in disadvantaged communities. So equity continues to be at the center of everything we do. It's the U.S. Department of Education's Green Ribbon Schools flagship award ceremony that we have. We're recognizing the schools. Sometimes it's whole districts, sometimes it's post-secondary institutions, and even early learning centers, because we want our youngest learners to have hands-on, minds-on learning like this. And they've been nominated to ed by their state education authority. So you got to go through your state education authority, get the nomination for the achievements. And I'm doing a little plug for it. There's 3 areas we're looking for. If you know of schools or agencies that are, number 1, reducing environmental impacts on cost, number 2, improving health and wellness, or number 3, teaching effective environmental sustainability education that features outdoor education or STEM education, civics, and green careers. We're looking for models that do any of those 3 things to be candidates for the Green Ribbon Schools Award. So any of the schools or districts that we recognize are becoming the gold standard for our country of the Green Schools movement. You might already know some of them if you haven't heard of them before, or maybe you've been able to see some of them, or maybe you come from a district that's won the award. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of what we're looking for. There's a Community High School District 99 in Downers Grove, Illinois, that purchased 100% of its electricity from renewable energy. They were one of our award winners. Then there's Elms Elementary School in Jackson, New Jersey, that featured geothermal heating and cooling, LED lighting, improved insulation and control systems, and a solar array that meets 40% of the school's energy needs. Then there was Richardsville Elementary School in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That was the nation's first net zero school building, but not the last to be honored by this award program. Since 2012, we've honored several net zero constructions across the country, as well as LEED, CHIPS, and Energy Star certified buildings. We're looking for more and more examples of that. There are some people that need to see it to believe it, and other people that can believe it into being. When we do the Green Schools Awards, we're showing people that have already done it, and then they can be models. Like, how did you get that done? What did you do there? And we can lift up and give some support to other people that want to do it. There was the Truckee Meadows Community College in Nevada. That became the first institution in Nevada's system of higher ed to achieve 100% power generation from renewable energy sources. So if you know a school district or a university, a state agency that's doing this work that's not already been nominated by their state, we want to hear about them. And I have a feeling you know a lot out there that we haven't heard of yet. So let us know. What happens is the honorees that get this award report that the reward or the award that they get it brings this needed recognition to all of the stakeholders in their community. It shows that what they're doing is working, and it's across divisions to implement sustainable change. But it also does this real magic of creating community and networks, because they get connected to other communities that are doing the same work, and it helps them grow the efforts in their region by having the platform of earning this award. They become what we call the beacons of green for their local community and state, and then the young people see that and they continue to get inspired. So you all are beacons of green. You all know what this is about, but you can help us to do this as leaders in your communities. I'm really hoping that you'll continue with me on this trek for sustainable schools, for clean and green schools that produce the kind of outcomes our children so deserve. And I understand the movement to improve the quality of school buildings and grounds in this country is really deeply rooted in an urgent school, community, and planetary need, and that it is undergirded by a tremendous enthusiasm, especially by our young people, to get this job done once and for all. So I'm going to ask that you continue to work with the courage and the empathy, and in partnership with our young people who have such passion for this. The Biden administration is with us on this, and we want to do this all together. We all have a part to play if we're going to ensure healthy, safe, sustainable 21st century schools. And we're fortunate to have a Biden-Harris administration that is totally all a government approach into this. The school changes that you're implementing, there are schools in every community. We get the job done when we get it done at schools first. And we do it for our students, for their families and the communities, and the school improvements that you all are supporting create a logical way for districts to use their budgets and their local authorities to make things happen, to make the planet better. And all of the school modernization efforts that you're doing, you can advocate, and these efforts can't wait. They're not for something to do 10 years from now. The time is now, and we are the ones to do it. So I know together we will raise the bar and we will get this job done. Thanks for letting me be with you today.